What is in the box? I have many boxes here. This is a photography video in case you weren't too certain. And I thought it would be fun to go through each box, one video at a time, and show you what's inside. And if you're into photography, particularly if you're new, you'll probably learn something. So the first thing to answer is, why the heck do I have these boxes? And I got a couple different kinds. They're just plastic tubs. Some I got from Walmart, some I ordered on eBay, like this guy right here, that are gasket sealed and stuff like that. So what? So I started collecting lenses, and when you have a couple, one or two kit lens and something else, it's not that big of a deal. But after a while, you start thinking, I'm buying lenses and I'm reading about like haze and mold and stuff. And like, ooh, how do I stop those spores from getting in there? What do we do, right? And so in my research, I found that putting them in a plastic tub with a dehumidifier is a great way of getting rid of that problem, stopping that problem. And so what you do is you go on eBay and you buy a bag of silica gel like this. And they come in these tiny little packets, and they're pretty cheap. And they're color-coded. They're color-coded. See, they turn pink when they're absorbent. They have absorbed all the water that they can absorb, or moisture and that. And then you stick them on a tray in the oven. I put mine on a greased sheet of tin foil just to make sure they don't accidentally melt and to glue to the cookie sheet. But I put them on there at about 200 degrees for 2 or 3 hours, and they go back to the dark blue color that they came in at, and they're ready to go again. So that's what's in here. And let's take a look inside this first box and see what we got. So first of all, we got a couple of silica gel packages that look like they need to be replaced. So I'll take care of that. But we've got a couple of fun lenses, two of my favorite prime lenses here. This is a Canon FD mount 50mm f1.4 SSC, which means it's got a special coating. And I got this with a Canon AE1, a flash, and also the 50 f1.8, which is kind of the slightly cheaper version of this lens. There's nothing wrong with it, we'll look at it later, but this is just a better lens. And when you look through it, just by looking through the glass, you can see it's got better optics. So I have really enjoyed this lens. It's got a NEX adapter on it to get it from the FD mount to where it can hook on to the Sony here. And it is just a wonderful prime lens. Very affordable. When you go online, you're going to pay a bit more than I did, because I think I paid 25 bucks for the camera, the flash, and the two lenses. The guy wanted to get rid of the camera. He thought I was there to buy the AE1, which is somewhere around here in the back there. This little hutch thing here, dresser, has been great for storing camera gear and having these shelves and stuff so that everything's organized. I've turned a back bedroom that I otherwise wouldn't use in this house of many rooms to take care of this. So this is a great lens, and I highly recommend you get it if you're not too afraid of finding out about manual focusing, okay? Most of the lenses that I've got are manual focus, and I've adapted them to work on that Sony NEX 5N there, so that I can get really good deals like that. And I'm constantly looking through Craigslist for people trying to dump stuff. Usually they don't know what they want. I got a ton of Olympus stuff here from a guy he had a relative die, and he just had a bag of Olympus gear. He didn't know what it was, so I gave him 50 bucks for it or something, maybe 70, and it was great. We'll look at the macro lens that I had that had mold in it. After I got it, I discovered that, but I had it cleaned out, so we'll discover that later on. And this thing's also got a filter on the front. That's the fun of buying used items. You discover that you get more than you paid for a lot of the time. So on a Sony mount, on a Sony camera, the crop factor here, you read about this or hear about this, is 1.5, which makes the calculating a lot easier. So that will come out to the equivalent of a 75mm lens, okay, on this thing. Whereas on a Canon, it's 1.6, so it'd be zoomed in a little more. This is one of my favorite lenses. I didn't pay a lot for it. Most of these lenses I'm going to show you, I paid 20, 30, 40 bucks, 60 bucks for. Maximum 100, 120, okay? I don't like spending money on gear. I like getting deals. My dad would be so proud of me, you know, that I've become a big deal hunter. And what you find is that the build quality of this stuff is amazing. I mean, this Canon lens here, totally, it's heavy. I could I don't know, hit something with this inducive damage, you know, and not just to the lens. But this is a Seikinon. I mean, I've never heard of these brands. You know, you can go online, and when I see something, I'll do a search for the model number, the manufacturer. Sometimes you can find out from the serial number if it's a third-party lens what factory it was made from, and the first number will tell you that in the serial number. And you can learn, like, the factory that made this batch wasn't very good. The same lens, quote unquote, made by factory B is a way better quality product. So this thing is a 28mm prime lens. Its build quality is like super massively heavy. It's all metal. It's great. So that's what that looks like. If you can see the numbers on there. This great 28mm prime lens. I have taken a lot of my wide angle shots with this. Obviously it's going to come out another 14mm, so 36, right, into the into the expansion range of the zoom when you plug it onto the Sony. But this is just a great lens. And this puppy on the back here is a adapter, but you'll notice something different. Just looking at the two, this has got a foot on it, right? And I highly recommend that when you're looking for adapter rings, especially as you get into the longer lenses, the zoom lenses and that, get the one with the foot if you can, because you want the weight distributed. Like, the camera will hang off this end, and that's got some weight, and the lens, which is also heavy, hangs off this end of it, right, of this ring here. If you didn't have the foot, which attaches to the tripod, right, then all the weight would be here on your camera, right? And that can really damage, and it has damaged, because I didn't figure that out early enough, the connectors and how that mount works for the automatic focusing cameras that you want to put on there. The connections won't fit up right after a while. It'll wear out. So get the foot if you can. It costs a little bit more money, not a ton more, $3-4 more if you can find a manufacturer's got them, and get that foot, because that will save you, okay? It's very important. So I really enjoy these two lenses. I highly recommend them. They are my two favorite prime lenses. If you look and see some of the wide angle shots that I've taken, although we're starting to tighten up at 75mm, right, equivalent of that 50, you will see the effects. This can almost give you a dreamy appearance, the 50mm here on the widest aperture. But as you stop down, it gets super sharp, and I just love it. I love it. So thanks for watching. I'm Jason Kanigan, and I dabble in photography, and join me next time as we look in another box.